as you can see, we're going to be talking about things that arm your immune system. And this evening, our first testimony is coming to you from Jordan Peterson, the Executive Vice President of Soul Naturals. We're going to watch a little video together and hear what Jordan has to say to us.
What's going on, everybody? Jordan Peterson here at the Soul offices today. I wanted to talk to you about one of my favorite things to take when you're starting to feel a little bit down. Now, at my house with 6 little kids, we pretty much have somebody who has some sort of cold or sickness all the time. And so what I like to do is to take right here, you take the 2 Cinemates, the Soul Renew, 2 SolleClearSIs right there. You put it into your favorite mug. Put some hot water with it, you guys, and I'll tell you what, it is a game changer. It gets you right back to where you ought to be really quick. So if you're feeling a little down, you know somebody's feeling a little bit down right now, go with the Crud Buster and you're going to see some great results. What's going on?
That's so awesome. Thank you, Jordan. It's funny because I just made something very similar to that earlier this evening. So it does work. Thanks for sharing that, Jordan. And we're going to have some other great testimonies on here, so stay tuned. Up next, we are going to be asking ourselves a question. So you want to ask yourself a question as you go through the slides and hear from the different people on this call. Am I focusing on the whole body or just the symptoms? Because it's really easy for us to focus on symptoms. So up next, we're going to hear about a foundational approach from Denise Norbit. Get your pen and paper out.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, we're going to learn some things about how the body works tonight. And so I am sure we're all familiar with this symbol and nobody wants to see it, okay? If this light comes on in your car, we definitely don't want to ignore the warning, though. Even though we dread seeing, it is a blessing in disguise because it's letting us know that something's not exactly right and we need to deal with it, right? So we could put a piece of duct tape over it, or we could just kind of learn to ignore it. But that wouldn't really be very smart because you know, something really serious could happen with our valuable vehicle, right? And so more than likely, we are going to do something about it pretty quickly. And our bodies have a similar warning system, and that system's called symptoms. So what are some of the symptoms we could have? We could have blood sugar issues, headaches, skin rashes, anxious thoughts, difficulty sleeping. I mean, it goes on and on, right? We could have a myriad of symptoms, but those are also a blessing that our body provides to us because without symptoms, we could go on our merry way and something debilitating could happen to us. So in the next slide, I love how the visual of this tree helps us understand the holistic way of dealing with the body and symptoms. So just like the health of this tree is dependent on the nutrition and the water that comes up through the roots to nourish the tree, our bodies are dependent on the nourishment that they receive. So if the soil doesn't have the water and nutrition coming up from the roots, then the tree is going to not be as healthy and it's going to start showing symptoms of disease. So just hacking at the leaves or the branches really won't make the tree healthy. And because the reason is, it's because it's not changing what's going on in the roots, because that's where the health is really built. So suppressing symptoms or cutting them out of our body isn't really going to help it function in a healthy manner either. So at Soul, we take a more holistic approach and we trust in the innate ability of the body to make corrections at the root or in our body, it's called cellular level. So if we give it proper nutrition, then with expertly formulated herbal combinations with smart herbs, our bodies can really make transformations. So we're going to talk about smart herbs in a minute. But there are really basically two philosophies of health, of healing. And one of them is the foundational approach, where we build a strong foundation through nutrition, and it in turn builds a strong mind and body. And that is instead of like hacking at the leaves. The other philosophy is more akin to like putting the duct tape over the light in your car. It's not, sometimes in the medical way of thinking, then we will just like force the body to stop doing something, or force it to start doing something, or cut it out. And it really doesn't change what's going on in the roots or the cellular level. So it's not to say that medications and surgeries are not needed sometime if people are in crisis. They definitely have their place. But it's not, if we focus on building health, we can not only alleviate symptoms, but have a healthier life in general. So in the next slide, we are going to talk about those smart herbs. And I love Soul Naturals products because they work in harmony with our body in that holistic way and not just covering up symptoms. So the smart herbs that I was talking about are called adaptogens. And at Soul, these adaptogenic formulas are really expertly combined, and so that they have synergy and they really work better because they're all combined together. Every single Soul product has at least one adaptogen in it, and many of them have more than one adaptogen. So these smart herbs are super great for building a strong foundation. And the really cool thing is, because of the way they're formulated, you don't have to be an expert in symptoms or diseases. In fact, you can build health and have the life you want to live instead of just treating symptoms when you take this approach with these wonderful adaptogenic herbs. So take it away, Lisa.
Thank you, Denise. I learned so much. There's so many nuggets about the warning system in our body, and that we don't have to suppress our symptoms. They're kind of those warning signs, and feeding our roots with smart herbs. There's just so much value in that. Thank you so much. And next, we're going to have another wonderful testimony. This time it's going to be from Sarah.
Hey everyone. So I'm honored to be here tonight to share a little bit of my SolleClear story with you. I will say SolleClear is the Soul product that probably has had the biggest impact for me. I've always had seasonal allergies, like from the time I can humanly remember. And the older I got, it seemed as though my symptoms and my discomforts just increased. I was regularly suffering from most year-round allergies and sinus infections regularly. And by regularly, I mean at least 5 a year. Rotating different allergy medicines and nose sprays that my doctors would prescribe. And I never really truly got real relief. Oftentimes, I really feel like it made it so much worse because those medicines were really messing with my gut. So then a whole host of things were happening, right? And I just didn't feel good. In January of 2018, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I had stumbled upon some posts that Kristen had posted. And honestly, when I came to Soul, I was just looking for a way to stop feeling like I needed to take an afternoon nap. And I will tell you that using the Soul Immune package and the maca worked amazing for that. But then in February of 2018, I had another sinus infection. And at this time, she was like, why don't you check out SolleClearSI? Like, it's seriously sinus and immune. Like, it's meant for your problems. And I was like, why not? What do I have to lose? Right. And oh my gosh, am I forever grateful for that conversation, because it has been such a life changer for me. Since it was February, though, I had just really come off another round of antibiotics, and I was not taking any current allergy medicine. So at the time, I was able to start SolleClear exclusively. And I took it all of the rest of February and all of March. And then when April came, my allergies did kick in, which they were a little bit later than usual. And I just kind of upped my dose of SolleClearSI, which I love that I can tailor the herbs that I'm taking to what's going on in my body and what it needs. And by May of that year, I was actually getting like real relief from my allergies. So, I mean, I could breathe clearly through my nose. I could inhale deeply again. I didn't always feel stuffy and just congested. I wasn't an itchy mess anymore. And I was actually able, for that first time, to smell the lilacs in so long. The last time I can remember being honestly able to smell a lilac was when I was in grade school. So that was mind-blowing to me. And guess what? I still hadn't had a sinus infection. And for me to go 3 months without a sinus infection, that was huge. So now here we are. It's 2023. I have not had a sinus infection since February of 2018. Can you even believe that? I am very, very consistent with my SolleClearSI and my other Solle adaptogens, because now I know what my body needs to maintain that sinus infection-free status. And by simply adding this herbal nutrition with those amazing adaptogens, my body has been able to have the fuel to come to balance, which allows my body to work together and give me that true natural relief of something I thought I would be plagued with for literally the rest of my life.
Wow, Sarah, that is amazing that you have seen so many tremendous things happen with your health, and it is true freedom. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So next, we're going to hear from the president of Solle himself. That would be Greg Halliday. And Greg, I'm just curious. We've been talking about this SolleClearSI quite a bit. Could you fill us in on a few more details and why you love this product so much?
You bet, Lisa. And hello, everybody. It's great to be with you. I just have to say, just listening to Denise teach, I've known Denise for many years. Denise has done energy work on me. Denise is someone, when she speaks, this is something she doesn't just speak about, she does it. She lives it and has helped many, many people live it. So I just want to say thank you for your great example, Denise, and your words, and Lisa, you too. All of you, Kristen, Sarah, I just feel like you make all the difference in sharing this information with people. And in fact, I was thinking of Sarah's story. You know, you made me think about the lilacs, Sarah, because they're pretty much, yeah, the diesel trucks that drive by and you smell the diesel smoke. There's a lot of that in life, figuratively speaking, as well as literally. And what Solle wants is people to smell the many lilacs, because there's always a lot of lilacs in life too. And it's amazing how a little change in nutrition, or maybe a bigger change, suddenly makes the lilacs visible in life. And that's kind of where we're organized at Solle. SI is another example of a product trying to meet a specific need, but using a foundational approach at its core. And Denise talked about that, and she talked about the smart herbs that are in it. I'm not going to show you slides tonight, but I have them here because I like to keep some information right in front of me and hopefully give you useful nuggets. I kind of like to call that stare and share. I apologize for the stare. It's really just me looking at this information. And I was asked to just share one of the ingredients, share a little bit about one of the herbs, because SolleClear has this nice blend that we call SolleClear, and then it has these 3 added herbs to it that are the SI component that Sarah mentioned. One of them is horseradish. Another one is the Japanese horseradish, wasabi. Now, we're not talking about the wasabi that is a blend that is made with sushi. We're talking about the actual root itself. And then the smart herb that Denise referenced, which is suma in the case of SolleClearSI. It is a spectacular immune and really stress normalizing herb. Its name in Brazil, in Portuguese, means for everything, para todo. I'm not sure they pronounce it that way because I don't speak Portuguese. I just speak Spanish, but it's similar. And that's not the one I'm going to tell you about, but that's the smart herb in it. And it's the reason it all works at such a diverse level or a complete level. In other words, not just for people like Sarah's situation, but for other situations that might be for different reasons, a struggle in this area, even on the opposite side of imbalance, say as Sarah's, they could find a similar rebalancing and result. That's the foundational approach, is preferring to work in balance versus forcing. And the ingredient I wanted to highlight for you is just the pure, beautiful horseradish. We're all familiar with it. So let me just I'm getting on my slides here, so I'm staring a little bit. Here's why horseradish is so good. And if you're into that sort of thing, it's the Armonica rusticata. I may not have pronounced that right, but that's the botanical name. You probably get it close if you Google it. Why is it so effective? What does it do so well? Well, those protective coatings inside the mucus layer are huge. Our immune cells can congregate and be on the alert there. Nutrition is either allowed to enter or not allowed, depending on the type of ingredient, the type of nutrient that approaches a cell. Toxins and anything from pathogens to metals to allergens, they are dealt with efficiently by the body when this mucus layer is properly balanced, not overactive and not dried up and underactive, or even built up into a blockage that kind of immobilizes all of those important things. All of these extremes are bad. They're all lights, like Denise said, they're all like oil lights, symptom warnings that our body sends us. Well, horseradish is the great balancer of your mucus. It clears congestion by loosening it if it's dried or tough or sluggish, and it thins it, but it doesn't dry it out. It's why it's so amazing. A lot of the over-the-counter things can dry it up completely, and a whole different set of problems come with that. So horseradish is this great balancer. There's a study where people that had colds and how long the duration was compared to those who ate horseradish. And I'm not sure quite what the amounts were during the study, but those who ate the horseradish, in almost half the time, they were out of the cold and back at their life, versus those who didn't, just simply adding horseradish. Another study that is fascinating to me was like 1,700 people. And this is an interesting one because in the study, what they did was compare standard antibiotics with horseradish. And the issues were either inflammation and infections in sinus, in bronchioles, so deeper lung, those two tubes, right, that branch off to your lungs. And then they even went further down in the body to kidneys and urinary tract infections. Super interesting study. And guess what they found? Just the simple horseradish did as well as these targeted antibiotics for those issues, but were viewed as superior because there were no side effects. None of the other measures that enter in when we try to force things. And I'm not saying that there aren't certain times when people will make that choice with antibiotics, but horseradish, what a great option it was, and what a great result. So horseradish to me is more than just something in a crisis when the light goes on. One of the favorite trainings I ever heard was Valerie, who often comes on here, and she talked about just basically why to her it's a daily, why SI is a daily. And it was her whole explanation. And what I've drawn my comments from tonight are Dr. Allison Caldwell Andrews' slides and training. Valerie was simply affirming the teaching about horseradish and our mucus and why regulating such a simple thing is huge for maintaining balance and health. And that's why she uses it every day. She finds her level. One of the great qualities of adaptogens, or smart herbs, as Denise put it, you can match those up to the need. You can ramp them up when needed, and you'll know when your body doesn't feel like as many. You listen to your body, and you can lessen it and just have a small amount every day and help give your body something to maintain that balance. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Greg. That's so fascinating. I love hearing about kind of the simplicity of just balancing the body and listening to your body and all the things that you guys are teaching this evening. And I really appreciated the comparison with the antibiotics, the study that was between the horseradish and antibiotics. Those are always so fascinating to know that we have options. I think sometimes we don't think we have options. So I know you mentioned Suma being an adaptogen. And so I wanted to ask you tonight, I know all the products have adaptogens. Why is it so important with these products that there is an adaptogen in every single product?
Well, I come from a background 20 years prior to founding Soul, where lots of great products and a lot of approaches to natural health using herbs. And what I can tell you is even in the situation, which I would consider a very good situation around very knowledgeable people and a huge array of herbs from which to select, there were a lot of people who would follow, though they use natural things and herbs, a symptomatic approach. What Denise taught is a symptomatic approach, trying to look at the symptom going, oh, I know this will actually lower blood pressure a little. Well, why is the blood pressure high? I know this will actually clean out the cholesterol a little. Why is that happening? So it is really an interesting and a profound thing to think about the roots and dealing with the roots, because even with herbs, there are some herbs that are quite effective, but you shouldn't use them very often. There can be some that are that powerful and they have compounds in them that are not good to be used in elevated levels or over a continuous period of time and can have buildups. So the answer to the question why is because adaptogens are normalizers. By definition, they're safe for daily use in whatever quantity necessary, and they deal with our stress response. So I'll just focus on three reasons. Deal with stress response, safe for daily use, and then they have a wide array of nutrients on both sides of certain imbalances. And I say certain because adaptogens do have their strengths. I call them their superpowers. And certain adaptogens will work more in a certain area, and others might work in a different area. So in the case of this product tonight, SolleClearSI Suma is one of the very, very best immune system response adaptogens. And all the different, and the more you get into immune system, it's in many different areas of our body. It ties into frontline immunity. Well, Suma works with several of these directly. And so the combination of safety so that you can ramp them up and use them if you want daily, if you need to over time, and the fact that they deal with stress response, or excuse me, I want to leave that one for last. The fact that they deal with either side of imbalance, they're smart herbs because they have the full complement, no matter whether our situation is on this side of imbalance or that side. And one way of thinking of that is overactive or underactive and weakened and needing more energy, or requiring some modulation and some calming, or requiring a push and stimulation. These are different ways of looking at both sides of imbalance. So adaptogens have that, and that's their strength. The final point I would make on that is to deal with the stress response. we believe and we have seen that even with good herbs and good nutrition, if we can give the body a certain state of rest, body can speed up healing. Or more effectively heal, actually tackle challenges that it doesn't have time or the ability, because it's fighting every day just to stay at a decent place, emotionally and physically. So adaptogens, that's one of their if you ask Dr. Allison, it's their number one attribute, is that they improve our ability to be more efficient in our stress response and not put ourselves in that heightened over alert state. And if the body can stay in this better state, whatever it is we're working on nutritionally will actually be more effective. And that was our hypothesis when we founded Soul. Now, 10 years down the road, not a hypothesis anymore. It's actually something that we have enjoyed and seen. And it was actually more pronounced than we ever imagined as we look at the formulas. So that's why they're in every formula, because we want to give everyone the best chance to rebalance or to strengthen or make that whatever improvement or change is necessary. And we believe deeply that adaptogens will give them, combined with other wonderfully complementary herbs, give us and them a better chance of doing that.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you not only for sharing that, but creating these and doing the due diligence and having the love and passion for helping people heal to put adaptogens in everything, every single product that's there. They truly are smart herbs. So thank you so much for sharing, Greg. We really appreciate you coming on the call.
You bet.
So we have one more testimony from Kristen this evening, and I know it is amazing.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, everyone. My name is Kristen, and I am a soul leader here at Soul. I'm in my 6th year, yay, with many more to come. But as I shared right here about what I wrote about my soul business, building a soul business has allowed me the freedom to be there for my family at any given moment. And I mean that. It is giving me the opportunity to expand my education, to work with nonprofits that are super close to my heart. It gives me the time to do that. I love military. It's our thing, and it allows me the ability to kind of be in both places, and a flexible schedule with my husband's new retirement way of life, which is new and interesting. And, the more I was thinking about this, it was, many people stay at their job because financially they have to, right? Or because the money's too good, they can't leave, all that stuff. But I'll tell you, a lot of the people here, not that the money's not great, because it really is. I get to pay somebody to come and clean my house. I get to have a new car. I get to do all the things. But the opportunity that I get to be able to fuel my passion, and combine health and wellness with helping people is just beyond amazing. The lifelong friendships that are made here, as we can all testify to. We get to see places that we may not ever see, like Costa Rica. And I get to contribute to my home while being home. Like, how cool is that? So just so many amazing things. And I just am so excited to be a part of this. And, if you're considering it, definitely jump in or talk to somebody, because it is just one of the most amazing opportunities. And really, to wrap it up, what would my Bella, my puppy, do without a stay-at-home dog mom? Come on, right? So everybody needs to be a stay-at-home dog mom, right, Lisa?
Yes, I have one doing zoomies around me at the moment.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that about the business. And it's been such a wonderful opportunity to get to meet each other, whereas we may never have met before. And there's so many amazing, what we call soul siblings in our family. So thank you for sharing that. I believe wholeheartedly in everything you said.
Thank you, Lisa.
So like Kristen had mentioned, make sure you connect with the person that invited you to this call, or if you're watching in the Facebook group, reach back out to that person that added you to the page, because we would love for you to join the Soul family as well. And one of the reasons, if you can go to the, yes, this is my favorite slide because I have been to Costa Rica before. You have a way right now to be able to go on a trip to Costa Rica. So you're going to want to also ask the person that invited you to watch this. How do you get to do that? Because it is an amazing opportunity to be able to go to places like this, which we have. Kristen and I have been to a lot of places together, and everyone on this call tonight, we've been to amazing places together. So you're going to want to know more about that, so how to get there. And then we'd also love for you to share your story with us. No matter how long you have been on the Soul product, we all have stories. We would love to hear your story so we can share it with others, because you never know who you might help. Even if it is a small thing that you think is insignificant, it could possibly change somebody else's life. So please share those with us. And lastly, if you want to receive a nice little reminder that it's time to hop on Facebook for a live or text these out, you're going to want to text the number below so that you get a little reminder right before it's time to jump on Facebook and watch these calls live. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for hopping on here or watching the recording. Please comment in our Facebook group. We would love to hear from you, and I just really appreciate you joining us this evening. Have a great night.